Good evening again. Welcome back to AssemblyTV. This is the GameDev Compostudio, and I'm Syphus. With me I have Sir Garbage Truck of Accession. Hello. Good evening. I have LeBlaine of UK Scene. Hello. And I have Syphus of Scene Sat Radio.
Hello.
And they've all joined me today. We've been sitting watching the GameDev Compo, which was quite long. Lots of cool stuff in there, and we're going to find out what these guys think of it. So, what do we have first? We had Pulse Phase Chronicles by 006 Studios. Thoughts, LeBlaine?
That was the like strategy game, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was a strategy game.
Yeah, I found that a bit boring, to be honest.
Right.
That was pretty generic.
It's hard to tell because somebody could have just a really good strategy that you don't
Yeah.
understand, but I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Anybody else? What do you think?
I wondered at the very beginning if it was a construction game, because like SimCity or whatever, because it started with destroying buildings by clicking on them, and then tanks started moving around. So I'm not really sure what the goal of the game was. I would need to play it.
Yeah.
It was not presented that well.
Yeah, this is the thing, I think. We have this difficulty, perhaps, sometimes a presentation maybe occasionally betrays something deeper that would be experienced if you were playing it, and that's hard to get across. But, you know, we've played games that are in similar styles, and it looked like whoever was playing it was really playing it and enjoying it.
Yes.
What do you think, Syphus?
Well, I'm not much into that kind of style of games myself. Puzzle games, more my kind of thing, not strategic ones, but to get a grip of that in such a short moment of time is not really that simple. Actually.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Well, there is a genre for everybody tonight, and some for others. We'll go through them kind of in order rather than jump around, because I'll just get lost in all 20-odd games. The next one was the Java shoot 'em up. Now I'm not going to ask Sir Garbage Truck just yet about this one, because there are caveats that come with his instinctive response to any JavaScript game. But what about you, LeBlaine?
Yeah, that was the on a space taxi gravity game. Yeah, it was okay. Fun little game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see yourself playing it into the wee hours?
No. I think yeah, I think that's one you could get bored of fairly quick. But yeah, a good blast. Yeah.
Was this the one with the editor as well? The editor.
Yes.
built in?
Yeah.
Yeah. That seemed pretty cool. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just to put that level of effort into something like this is quite cool, because
it was well polished.
Yeah, it was really. I kind of didn't get the fact that they had a sort of a transporter between 20 pixels or something on the screen. Or, well, just to exaggerate, but other than that, cool
I
features.
wondered if there was a really subtle wisdom there. maybe too subtle.
Yeah.
But you could use a very kind of apparently pointless thing like that to your advantage if you were playing strategically against lots of people. I didn't see how many players that can support, but it must have been a multiplayer game.
It looked like, well, at least one, after the editor, it looked like they had at least 16 players.
Right.
And
yeah.
And it was scrolling to match where the players were on the screen. So it looked like it had some decent multiplayer in it. I'm not sure that it would work well unless you had a bunch of mates over or were on a LAN.
Yeah.
But it looked like it was a reasonably good Jumpman clone until I noticed the shooting. And then, well, look, this is not a Jumpman clone.
Well, you've been in a very roundabout way, almost complimentary about the Java element of this.
I'm avoiding mentioning anything about the fact that it is Java.
Okay, moving on.
Yes, moving on.
Moving on. Then we had my notes for this next one just read awesome, because the intro to the next game, which is 7-Bit Pirates, the 7 bits. No, the game was 7-Bit Pirates by the 7 bits, and the intro was a great 8-bit sort of very kind of blocky, gradiented kind of intro scene, which I thought was the game, and I thought that was awesome.
I thought it was Seven Cities of Gold Part 2, and it was like, yes.
Yeah, and the rest of the game was awesome as well, but I was a bit let down because I thought the whole game would be about that. But what did you guys think of the gameplay of that when it got going? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it looked like quite a lot of fun. I mean, quite a lot of mayhem going on with a bunch of ships at the same time. Was that the one? I don't remember how many players there were. There was some.
There were up to 30.
30 on that
could
one.
manage
And
up to
that is
30.
quite cool,
Yeah.
I must say. And, well, the effects were nice. Nice twist with a very old-school kind of intro.
Yeah.
And then just tweaking it out, not really. And then going yar all over.
Yeah.
So that's quite
And I
good.
guess if you got 30 pirates together, that's what they would do.
Indeed.
Yeah, what do you think, LeBlanc?
Yeah, it was like a cut-down version of like Sydney's Pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Is that more fun?
Yeah, they'd just taken the sea combat bit out and made a fun little multiplayer game out of it. Yeah, I can see that being. I only had a chance to play with a couple of other players on the server on the LAN, but I think on a big game, it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I should say that LeBlanc, because some of the entries have been uploaded already before the COMPO started, LeBlanc had a chance to try a lot of the demos. Not to play all of them, because I think some of them crashed, didn't they?
Yeah, I had a few glitches with a few of them, but yeah.
Well, they all worked on the big screen, so
Yeah.
it's okay. Next we had Particle Zone. I can't remember much about this, and my notes say WTF, so maybe you can fill in some blanks. So, Garwood Struck, do you remember what was going
I'm looking
on
at the
there?
picture, and I remember, yeah, there was quite a bit of WTF in there. I did not understand really what was supposed to take place in the game, other than I think you highlighted a bunch of stuff and you tried to move it somewhere. But this is another one that suffered from the presentation.
Yeah.
There are some cases where you want to let the game somebody play the game and show that. There are other cases when you want to have a tutorial or something like that first. Not a long tutorial.
Yeah.
But and in this case, it was like, oh yeah, I don't know what that is.
Do you think that because we're here, because we're watching a GameDev COMPO, do you think we have to give the benefit of the doubt for things that are obviously labors of love? You know,
I
for the
do,
people who made
because
them?
I mean, let's face it. If the person actually spent a lot of time, and maybe it's a build number 1 and build
Yeah.
number 2 in a week is going to be better.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody to just quit because
sure. Yeah.
we're like, yeah, well, it's
Because we
made
don't
in-
know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And besides, it might be a lot more fun to actually play. There's a huge difference between playing games and watching them.
Sure. Yeah.
But some games lead themselves to be, if there's an interactivity that you can see.
Yeah.
This one, in this incarnation, didn't have it,
Yeah.
perhaps yet.
Okay. Did you get a chance to play that one, LeBlanc?
Yeah, to be honest, I couldn't work out what was going on at all,
Okay.
even playing it. Yeah, it could be a great game, but I just didn't have a clue what I was doing.
Yeah. I guess we can keep our eye on it. Next one up. Well, the next one up excited me a lot because it was Part-Time Angle Grinder Hero, which that looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it had an excellent intro.
Yes.
Yeah.
It did. What do you think, Syphus?
Well, I do like the fact that the guy who made it, or the guys, they kind of played on a lot of things, like the ultimate evil grinder and the epic whatever.
Yeah,
But
with like the 80s metal riffs.
yeah,
sort of,
exactly. And I do like the fact that, well, I mean, the gameplay itself, even though we didn't see that much of it, kind of looked a bit repetitive, and unless you got to speed up the grinder at points, it could be quite tough
Yeah.
to actually grind off those
Yeah.
But no, it looked like a fun game, and lots of labor, lots of rock in the
Lots
games
of rock.
so far.
Lots of rock all through the COMPO.
Yeah.
I think that maybe longevity of that would be a bit limited.
Yeah. I mean, it was. The game itself was pretty simple, but yeah, good presentation. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Was that a Flash game?
Yeah,
As far as
it
you-
was.
Yeah, Flash game, yeah. Well, that was very cool, and I think he died in the end by being hit by a bottle,
Yes.
which is what happens when you angle grind late at night in a bar, apparently, wherever the guy was. So yeah.
Well, he did purchase an alcoholic beverage as one of his power-ups. So
Oh, right, so he brought it upon himself. Let that be a lesson to you kids. So, next up we had Rod by Diabolics. Sorry, by Diabolics with an X. And that was the racing game.
That was the racing.
The racing, shooting, getting lost game. Yeah, what do you think of that, LeBlanc?
Yeah, that was the one I didn't get a chance to play because there was no. You had to have a 360 pad to play it, so
yeah.
that was a bit frustrating.
Yeah, no option to change it.
No, didn't look like it. Yeah, I don't know. It looked like every other racing game ever, pretty much.
It looked pretty snappy for game as game dev entries go. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to do a racing car simulator or ever. So the cars look kind of stiff at points, and that's kind of what you're fighting with when you're developing a racing game overall. When we were doing, I worked at DICE before, and we started doing. Can't really remember the game anyway. Rally Sport Challenge 2. We had a bit of a problem where to actually put the physics in the engine, and it takes a while to get that.
So there's all those little things like center of gravity and turning curves.
And you have some games, they have basically you have the car, you have a stick in the middle of the car, and the car just rotates.
Yeah.
You don't get the feeling of it, and that's the problem with just being one or two guys doing something. So it's a bit tough, but good effort anyway, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And again, presentation. You know, the guy playing the game got lost, or whoever was playing the game got lost.
I still think I played that exact game on the Dreamcast, and I didn't like it then. It suffered the problem, like you said, of a lot of car racing games.
Yeah.
I thought that the shooting was unnecessary. It looked like if it would have just been straight on, pour on the speed, race around the thing, it would have been more fun, especially since he, like you said, he got lost. It looked like there might be some alternate routes in there. So I was thinking Rush the Rock and some of those other arcade racing games. Just a direction that it might go rather than what it did there. And
well, as you say, shooting's not always necessary. Yes. I think we've all learned something today. On that moralistic note, let's move on to Super Pack by AOH Games. And you'll have to remind me about this because I just have written down cool in a sort of scroll that I did in the dark. It says cool.
That was the Nintendo game.
Oh, it was a Nintendo one. Yeah, that was very cool. That's why I wrote down cool. Family Tracker soundtrack, as I remember. Did it? Yeah, I mean, elements of it reminded me of a few different games. There were bits of Turrican that called out to me. There
was a lot of thrust in there.
Thrust, yeah.
Or Gravitar.
Yeah.
There was some.
Oh, they had the gravity on the artillery, didn't they? Yeah.
And the gravity was moving upward, shooting upward, and the bullets were coming back down on him.
I'm convinced. Sounds like gravity to me.
I want to play that game.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to play that, LeBlanc?
No, didn't. I'd have to sort of. Was it SNES?
Yeah.
No,
NES.
NES.
NES. Ah, right, yeah. Didn't sort an emulator out in time, so.
Right.
But yeah, I'm going to have to play that one. Looks good.
Okay. What do you think of that so far?
Well, it was cool because you could actually destroy the level as well
Yeah,
itself.
that was cool.
I do like the fact that you can interact with the environment and just do stuff with it.
It gives you a sense of a countdown. You know, for this game to be worthwhile, especially a multiplayer game, you're gonna have to sort it out before you destroy the level. I guess.
Exactly. So it's really cool.
Okay, cool. Let's keep moving on. Fancy Fang's Adventures by Bendy Patrol Games, of course. What do you think of this one, guys? What do you think, Trick?
I think that, again, the presentation was a bit off in this. It obviously has elements of a Japanese RPG where you have a lot of button pushing between the conversations. The difficulty being that the conversations that we saw were the fellow meeting his mother, and then his mother said something, and zoom, we're out of there. And so there was no way we could actually follow anything from that conversation and understand why he, well, as you said, is this just his way back home from the pub?
Yeah, because he went to a bar, and then suddenly he was jumping over fireballs, and he was back. And I suspect it might be more coherent than we're led to believe.
I think it's very possible that it is a good Japanese RPG type game, but because of the way that it was presented, it looked more like a jump and run.
Yeah,
and I don't really know which one it is.
Well, I mean, the problem is we've seen some demos where they've been, interesting games, but the sort of gist of the game can be given in 10 seconds, and yet the demo's gone on for 30 seconds or a minute. This game could have benefited from being presented to us for longer. Do you think that would have helped in this case, Syphus?
Yeah, I mean, the first couple of screens when you were just showing the graphics, well, they look quite good.
Yeah,
and then as said, you kind of lost track because didn't really get a wholeness of it all. So I was kind of lost for a while before just trying to understand it. What I wrote was nice. So that's basically it. Was nice, but I kind of didn't get. Yeah, a couple of question marks as well, but
yeah.
Right. So we're all.
Yeah, cool. Next we had Chain 3D by Alpha Polygon, which is the slightly Rubik's-y
3D
block,
Tetris kind of.
Tetris kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this kind of stuff on principle, but I realise it's not for everybody. What do you think, Blaine?
Yeah, it's simple little puzzle game. Yeah, looked quite good. Presentation was good.
You're quite easy to please, aren't you?
Yeah.
Bright colours,
Yeah.
trance music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm after in a game.
What do you think, Truck?
I'm just remembering that was the one that had trance music.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. I didn't think the explosions were big enough when you actually knocked something out and when you had the combos. I could not really tell if there was gravity involved or if you were just placing blocks and then they exploded.
So shooting's not always necessary, but the explosions weren't big enough.
Exactly.
Right. I'm starting to film a new picture of your personality from.
Today has been an interesting day, and I might just be thinking of maybe some destruction might be good.
Yeah. Well.
Which we might see in some of the other games.
We might. So, speaking of which, let's move on to Vuvuzela Hero. So, Vuvuzela Hero. The first thing I noticed about it. Partly because of my instinctive intuition, I thought, this has a sort of a Dutch theme to it altogether, Dutch demo colours. Also because Oki was behind me shouting, Dutch demo, like that. So aside from that, I don't know how many Dutch people are going to be voting out there tonight, but what do you think about the actual gameplays?
Well, I was a bit disappointed really in the sound of the Vuvuzela.
There wasn't much Vuvuzela, was there?
No, it wasn't. I mean, it was just in the beginning, and then it turned into an That's quite sad. I mean, they should have used formats Vuvuzela 64 version instead.
Because when the Vuvuzela was playing, I had a sample loop point going around, and I thought I could have just got format.
Kind of lost that. But I do like the little touches, like okay, let's play the easy level. That's quite nice, but other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, are you a secret Vuvuzela aficionado, LeBlanc?
I've got to be honest. I'm a little bored of Guitar Hero type games.
Yeah.
It was a fun concept, but I'm slightly bored with that kind of gameplay.
Apparently, there's a Guitar Hero contest, like championships, going on here at Assembly this year. So I think you should check that out, just to kind of purge yourself, just to kind of really make absolutely sure that you're sick of it.
Yeah.
Sounds like that'll be a lot of fun. Well, that was. It had to be done,
Yeah.
I didn't expect to get through Assembly without seeing some kind of Vuvuzela prod. But I think it was Truck that said needs more Vuvuzela, which is maybe the only time that's been said ever by anybody. And I agreed. So there you go. Next we had Taisto by Below Absolute Zero. And my notes for this one say unremitting. And I felt it was a bit, but I'd like to hear what you guys think. What do you think, Truck?
This, can I patent the phrase, the presentation was no good, because I'm just going to say it again here.
Do you want a macro for it?
Yeah, but, I mean, I was done with watching this one about 2 hours before it finished on the screen.
Yeah.
Again, maybe it's a really fun game. but I don't understand why, when you were firing the gun at the other people, the pitch went up. It just, other than that, it just looked like it was really small and.
Yeah, the flamethrowers, the pitch. I mean, I think that might have been a weird feedback problem in the whole. I think the game was kind of beset by a number
it
of
might have
problems.
actually been a bug that they experienced here, and it's not actually in the game.
Yeah.
Because it detracted, as far as I was concerned. There was a lot of detract from that game. I would say work on it some more.
Yeah. What do you think, Syphus?
Well, I kind of, the only thing I wrote was flamethrower overflow, really, in a way, because yes, the graphics were very tiny. You can really make out exactly what was going on, and it seemed like the guy ran through a lot of flames all the way, and then
from the very beginning as well.
Yeah,
which is weird because flamethrowers usually occupy a space of gaming canon that comes as maybe it's a first-person shooter. Flamethrowers on key 8, and you've got very limited fuel. You know, it's a special treat, but then it's gone. Yeah, so it's weird to see it as the mainstay of a game. And again, maybe that's a presentation problem. We have to think about separating that out. But you know, for what we see is what we vote on, and everybody else in the whole. That's going to be the way it is. So again, we're sure it was a lot of fun, but presentation was like next. Right, next is Dimensional Shrooms by Mythorb. LeBlaine, I'll let you take the lead on this one.
I've just written WTF on my notes for that one.
I like the music in this one.
Yeah, the music was the best part, in fact.
Oh. Was it motion management?
I have no idea.
Because if it was, I would expect to see like maybe somebody's bed and some kind of trays under it or something. I couldn't really figure this out.
No, I mean,
Syphus, any ideas?
Well, I kind of thought they played it at a fourth of the speed it should be played at. So I was a bit sad about that, and then I kind of slowed down to that tempo anyway, because it's like, okay, let's wake up now. Okay, next time. That's kind of my idea of it.
Yeah, I suspect there's deep stuff happening in that game. That's beyond
You
me.
suggested perhaps the reason it was slowing down was there was a 3D render taking place at the same time.
I did suggest that.
You did.
I'm not going to go into detail. A particular suggestion. Some things are for the party hole.
We should, since we're not going into detail, we should wish Keops a happy birthday.
Absolutely. Happy birthday to Keops. You heard it here first. Keops, birthday boy. From Sir Garbage Truck. He'd be pleased about that. So, next we had Tricky Truck by Archie. Well, it's hard not to like this. So if we take that as given, which I'm afraid we have to do, go on, Truck, take it away.
Well, I think the biggest issue that we have with this game is that I'm going to give it extra points just because of the fact that it's a gravity game involving a truck released at Assembly. And gravity games based on trucks released at Assembly have traditionally been awesome. This is yet another one. Also, Archie has made various other physics-based games that are really good. What we wanted to know, and what we don't know right now, because we had to rush right in here, is how large this executable is. Because Archie is another individual who often makes, well, he's made several 4Ks, and Sumatori Dreams, one of his earlier games, was a 96K. It
was a 96K, wasn't it? And it actually came in something like 82, something like that,
So Archie is capable of packing a lot of stuff into a small package, and he's an expert at using the game itself to present how fun it is.
The imagination fills in the rest. And you do the hard work in your head.
I liked the game. I liked the fact that it is a game that involves trucks driving through areas that really look difficult to manage.
I wish we'd seen a power slide, though.
Yes.
Maybe with a bit of a run-up and a different kind of a mountain. I think that would be... A level editor would be awesome as well. So
and who knows, maybe there is one in there.
Yeah, let's keep
maybe
an eye
he'll
on
make
that
one.
and see how it goes. We're going to have to hurry up and bash through them. We've got a few more to look at. Ray Eraser, XZM. What do you think, Syphus?
Well, I think that that the presentation of this on a flat screen kind of destroys this, because it was a mobile phone game.
Yeah,
for
it took us a while to work out
N900.
how it was being controlled.
Yeah, because the arrow that was the player just stood still on the screen.
Yeah.
That kind of is not what you play with a phone, and you have to tilt it. That's a bit more fun, I guess.
Do you think maybe a video of somebody playing that would be
a
lot more
lot
helpful?
better, I think. Yeah, because the effects weren't astounding anyway, so I think the feeling must be there too, to actually enjoy that.
I think maybe all these games should have a box in the corner with the player's expression.
Yeah.
Because some of them would be.
That'd be,
Some of them would
an excellent idea for next year. To film people actually playing the game and seeing their reactions as they're playing it.
Yeah. Because that's the test of the game, you know.
Yes.
I'll go on to Tank Shock, which involved people being shocked by tanks. Lots of tanks, lots of shooting, ticks all the boxes. Did it pull it off? Do you think you'd play that for a length of time, LeBlanc?
To be honest, this seems to me a little bit like, was this a Unity engine game?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it very much seemed like a pretty basic Unity engine game that they just
Maybe a bit tech demo-y.
Yeah, just added some pretty uninspiring gameplay.
Yeah.
To be honest. I mean,
It'd be nice to
visually,
have a story behind all of these, because what we're looking at as well as just the quality of the game is somebody's development and somebody's kind of skills. So it'd be great to see how people have arrived at the point they're at, and I think that, as well as the file size and player reaction. I think maybe we should fill in some comment cards for next time and try and get better feedback so that people can judge better. We'll move on to Dr. Funkenstein's Badass Rocket Jump Challenge. Again, that's Dr. Funkenstein's Badass Rocket Jump Challenge by Meat Grinder. I think it should be said very quickly, if possible.
Funky.
Yeah. And explosive fun. Everybody's nodding in agreement just because, did what it said in the box. And it reminded us every so often by saying badass funk explosion and stuff.
And the ending thing was best when.
Yes, that was cool.
So with all the skulls, and that was quite neat and funky.
Yeah.
You dead.
You did.
Awesome. We had 40 Caves by Elite Ninjas. This was the blocks and a little guy pushing puzzle.
Sudoku.
So you said that you're quite interested
not
in
Sudoku.
puzzle games. What do you think of this?
Yeah,
one?
but I didn't really get that one. I kind of didn't get why it started rumble and shake when he was at some door or something.
If that's just a feature, every time you finish a different door, that could get quite irritating.
Yeah, I mean, at first, a bit of Lazy Jones there, but the diversity in the rooms weren't, the caves, sorry, weren't that big. So, well, that's not the kind of puzzle game I'm more for.
Needs bigger caves.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay. And we had the tat, the stick throwing. What do you think, LeBlanc? Throwing sticks, is that your thing?
it was a
Throwing sticks at things.
it was a fun little physics game. Pretty small, but it did exactly what it said on the tin.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't fault it really.
I think people have a lot of appreciation before they even go in for something that is so kind of self-explanatory and kind of quick thrills and does it straight away.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, they've it's not sort of an overly ambitious project that they've failed to achieve. It's just a fun little game.
Yeah. Was it the last? Oh, we had Orbital Bombardment. What do you think, Chuck?
This was the one that probably suffered from being displayed last or near to last.
Yeah.
Because if it would have been earlier, we might not have been so quick to be we're done with the talking and so forth.
Last of 25 as well,
Yeah.
which is quite critical. So, I mean, we saw 30 seconds of that Blender model or whatever it was.
As you said, we've just blown up 6 billion people. I feel depressed now.
Yeah, it's quite grim. I kind of feel guilty just by association.
But it did kind of fill in that destruction thing that I was talking about, so I might need to go play it now.
Right. So because it was explosions rather than shootings, it's okay.
Well, there was a lot of shooting in it with railguns and with flak, but it wasn't necessarily a pistol.
No, I mean, say what you like, those guys have got a sense of scale.
Yes.
If you're going to do it on a galactic scale.
Yes.
What do you think, LeBlanc?
Yeah, I think this was a game that you really needed to play. You just couldn't get the sense of what the gameplay was like
Yeah, I agree.
off the screen. It put me in mind of a 3D version of DEFCON.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
That's one I want to play, just to see what it's like. Yeah.
Syphus, last remarks about that one?
Well, I did like the presentation. The planets were quite nicely defined. So that part of the presentation was really good. But
Yeah.
since we got into the tutorial mode kind of thing, it lacked some of the presentation about that. But
Yeah.
as I said, it could be interesting in just digging deeper into it actually, because it looked neat.
Yeah, well, I think we've touched on a few issues that are maybe fundamental to the way this compos are run, and not to tell people how to run their compo, but you know, we were sitting in there and we watched all of these, and we were around other people who were watching these, and I get the impression that maybe our reactions were shared by people who were with us. You know, we needed to see more than just a snapshot of these games out of context, and it would be good to have more of that context, I think.
It would help some of the people that don't necessarily need. I mean, you know, if you're designing a game and you're making a game and you want the game to be fun, you're not really thinking about how do I present this to the assembly audience.
Yeah.
And do you really need to have a whole sales pitch involved if the game is really supposed to be a game?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we've got some things to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the GameDev Compostudio discussion. I've had Sir Garbage Truck of Accession, I've had LeBlaine from UK Scene, and I've had Syphus from Scene Sat Radio. And I've been Syphus, and that's pretty much us. Thank you for watching. Check out the rest of the interviews on Assembly TV over the next few days.